Look at that muscular orc. I wish I could create something like that in the creation club. That's an epic looking character right there. If he was a preset, I'd be happy. Keep the volume at 20. Okay. Alright, so I came here to deposit some books, and I thought, there's my bookshelf. Place books here on the bookshelf. Khalid, Ibn Walid, Bounty Bandits. I read this. Volume 4, I want to get volume 3. The Book of the Dragonborn, the first book I read. The Crimson Turks, Volume 5. The Wolf Queen. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering why I'm in this house, I bought it. It's one of the Skyrim Anniversary Edition mods, Tundra Homestead. I had a whole recorded session that shows how I got it and everything, and some more context, but I accidentally deleted it and uploaded the older recording, which I also had to delete from YouTube. So that's why I'm here. But basically, I bought the homestead so I can store my books, have a house. It's outside of Whiterun. So I'm storing them, the ones I read. And obviously I want to see if I can find a separate place for the notes. But again, yeah. Some of this can't do anything. I'm gonna try to complete as much and explore as much of Whiterun Hold as much as possible. As a warrior scholar, I'm here to help the people of Skyrim during the Civil War period, and also try to stop the Civil War in some way, or contribute to it, so that Thalmor don't get an advantage, because I have a theory that they're trying to undermine the Empire. I lived in Bruma most of my life, studied in the Imperial City, and here I'm back home in Skyrim. Well, my homeland, if you will. So I will return to Bruma at some point, but I also got stuck with this dragon situation. Something called Dragonborn of Legend, and so I've been investigating that, getting more knowledge, just check out the previous parts of this playthrough, and I'm going to continue that. Subarashi gozaimasu. Wow, Charwick, they have books here as well. That's crazy. Oh my god, are these actual books? Holy crap.
Can I help you?
Bruh, get out the way. Dressers. Do they have a separate location? Wolfcoin Volume 2. Ethereum. Oh. Book of Daedra added. Small chest. Yeah, I can now pick up books because I have a mod that allows me to pick it up without reading it, so I know which ones I've read and which ones I haven't. Scholar at the end of the day. Seems I can't put some of these back until I complete their quest. And if I read it like this and I pick it up, I can read it. If I click E like this, I pick it up right away. Ah, the farm. So good. Do I have alternative clothing? What the hell? Books in this place to read. I mean, good God. I have an enchanting place. Ooh, did I accidentally take that? Let's learn this. Let's enchant this. Oh, it's empty. Damn it, it's empty. Let's get that. Shit. How are you going, but you're empty? A little bit deceptive now. Ooh. Ah, shit. Ah, crap. It's like real life. Alright. For the Whiterun. What would I put here? I guess I put some of this in here. Stress. cellar contains, I believe, an armory. Different things in. I'm gonna have to go back and steal that. They're not exactly gonna give it to me out of the kindness of their hearts. There's a bookshelf down here as well.
We heading out? I've got all your equipment cleaned and ready.
There's multiple book. Sun's height, 2920, volume 7, Sun's height. Gentleman's Guide to Whiterun. Wow, kind of amazing. What the hell? There's a glitch going on there. Huh. Book. I'll come back. There's so many things to read. There's a book to read here. Book to
Right behind you.
Yeah. I guess I'll read the books down here. Scholar, you kinda have to. Volume 4. Skipping volume 3. So it's the Book of Daedra, the Crimson Dirks, volume 3. As the septum slowly poured over to the Khajit's end of the table, Pelletia's thoughts turned to his friends back in Citadel. Drinks my tea, my Tundra Homestead. Pelletia's... Oh, I should check back with Shirley Curry. I wonder if she's been uploading Skyrim videos. On hers usually remain around 30 minutes or so. Pelletia's thoughts turned to his friends back in Citadel and prayed to Genathar that luck had found them in their part of the world. If Khajit may ask, he said, turning to Auntie,
this merchandise you wish to move, is it by chance connected to the recent theft in the palace?
Khajit may not ask, snapped Erwin, or Erwan will remove his tongue.
Pardon his rudeness,
the cat demurred.
But the sands are full of talk regarding the heist of the clan mother's treasury.
Oh, give him a break, teased Edward. If you wanted to hide your identity, you probably should have chosen a disguise that didn't include the clan mother's personal wardrobe. Erwan scowled at her brother, angry at herself for not having a proper comeback. The Khajit, meanwhile, glanced at his tiles and fiddled with his ring, an action that did not go unnoticed. I'm missing so much context to this story. Yes.
Yes, although it was not the silk, but the sword that gave her away,
the Khajit said, revealing another winning hand.
A common blade would not have such an elegant scabbard.
We should drop the weapons, and just grow our nails out, Edward sighed, as the cat's claw raked in another pot. Maybe then we'd have better luck. If you want to take that risk, be my guest, Pelletius chimed in. But if we get into a fight, I'd feel better if my hands were clutching imperial steel.
You'd feel better, sure, Edward countered. But how do I know I wasn't destined to be a mage?
There was a time when Pelletius wondered the same about Edward. At first glance he was more dashing and noble than thief. But behind the smile and charm was a cunning and calculating wit. Some might argue that Edward was better suited for the job than Pelletius could have ever been. For the best rogues cut their enemies not with the edge of their dagger, but with the sharpness of their mind. Either way, Khajit is excited to meet such daring thieves. How many outsiders would even try such a thing, given the consequences? What do you mean by that? Edward replied, examining his tiles.
Well, the clan mothers are allies of the Dominion. Their eyes are all-seeing, and their punishment are known to all who bear the scream. Hear the scream. And what do you think? And what do you think about that, Furball? Erwan interrupted, eyes focused on the Khajit. Are you a fan of the Dominion? Do you have paintings at home of Lady Aranade and Aralia in fancy lace? Khajit does not care for politics, he said, raising the pot. He is sorry to have brought it up. Oh, don't mind my sister. She's just touched by sheer go-wrath, replied Edward, calling the bed. I, for one, love a good political discussion. It allows us to find a common ground. After all, why do you think people get into conflicts in the first place? Khajit would assume it is because two sides cannot reconcile their differences. You'd think that. One person calls Talos a man and the other a god, and the next thing you know, they're at each other's throats. But I've seen blood feuds started over the love of a woman, and wars fought over inches on a map. The truth is, people don't fight because they're different. They fight because their motivations are one and the same. That's true whether you're the same, whether you're the Empire and the Down, or a clan mother and a thief. And what by the moons unites you and the clan mother? What is this motivation you both share? The same thing that drives you, Edward replied, smiled, laying out his tiles that he would Greed. The hand was indeed a winner, and of a greater concern to the Khajit was the note Edward placed beside it. The merchant recognized it immediately. He had penned the letter that morning with the intent to betray them to the clan mother in exchange for a hefty sum of sugar and gold. Startled, he reached for his weapon, but it was too late. Erwan had already drawn hers. It doesn't matter, the Khajit merchant said. This letter was for the clan mother, but one to the guard is already. Before Edward could interject, Erwan slit the Khajit. It doesn't matter, the Khajit merchant said. This letter was for the clan mother, but the one to the guard is already. Before Edward could interject, Erwan slit the Khajit's throat. As the blood spattered all over her silk garment, a scream could be heard from the market. A downward justiciar flanked by two guards had dragged the Nord butcher from his stall, accusing him of Talos worship. A little typo there. Accusing him Talos worship should be accusing him of Talos worship. The justiciar tore open the butcher's tunic, but found only an amulet of Mara. The butcher replied with a toothy grin, asking the downward if she was spoken for. The justiciar, disgusted, tossed the butcher into his stall before returning to her patrol. Peladeus shut the window. They may have won the day, but the war was another story. For now, they had a long journey ahead of them, and a body to dispose. Ooh. The Book of Daedra. The Book of Daedra. Azura, whose spear is dusk and dawn, the magic in between realms of twilight. Known as Moonshadow, mother of the rose and queen of the night sky. Boethia, whose spear is deceit and conspiracy. Deceit and conspiracy, Boethia. And the secret plots of murder, assassination, treason, and unlawful overthrow of authority. Ooh, look at the Dark Brotherhood. Clavicus Vile, whose spear is granting of power and wishes through ritual invocations, pact, a Loki type. Hermaeus Mora, spear is scrying of the tides of fate of the past and future, as read in the stars and heavens, and in whose dominion are the treasures of knowledge and memory. A scholar like myself, he might be my Daedric prince. Ursine, whose spear is the hunt, the sport of Daedra. The great game, the chase, known as the huntsman and the father of man-beasts. Ah, what else would love him? Malakat, whose spear is the patronage of the spurned and ostracized, the keeper of the thorn oath and the bloody curse. The orcs would definitely like him. Mehrunes Dagon, whose spirit is destruction, change, revolution, energy, and ambition. Who would love him? The dwarves? The elves? The Dalmor? The high elves? Or the dark elves? It's an interesting one. Mafala, whose spirit is obscure to mortals, known by the names Web Spinner, Spinner, and Spider, whose only consistent theme seems to be interference and the affairs of mortals for her amusement. Meridia, whose spirit is obscure to mortals, who is associated with the energies of living things. Oh, okay, she's pretty powerful. Kind of like for everyone then. Molag Bal, whose spear is the dominion and enslavement of mortal, okay, who desires to harvest the souls of mortals to bring mortal souls into his slaves, spreading seeds of strife and discord in the mortal realms. I know he's like vampire, I think. Namira, whose spear is the ancient darkness, known as the spirit Daedra, ruler of sundry darkness and shadowy spirits, associated with spiders, insects, slugs, and other repulsive creatures, who inspire mortals with an instinctive revulsion. Nocturnal, whose spirit is the night and darkness, is known as the Night Mistress. Thieves, perhaps. Periite, whose spirit is the ordering of the lowest orders of oblivion, known as the Taskmaster. Sanguine, whose spirit is hedonistic revelry, debauchery, and passionate indulgences of darker natures. It can apply to any species. Sher Goret, whose spirit is madness and whose motives are unknowable. Vernima, whose spirit is the realm of dreams and nightmares, and from those realms issues full evil omens. Oh, and from whose realm? Oh, these snakes are interesting. Dragon, dog, fish. Different symbols, interesting. Especially marked for special interest under the heading Malakat, and you find a reference to Scourge, blessing by Malakat, and dedicate to the use of mortals. In short, the reference suggests that any Daedra attempting to invoke the weapon's powers will be expelled into the void streams of oblivion. Oh, interesting. Of the legendary artifacts of Daedra, many are well known, like Azura's Star and Shelgarad's Wabajak. Every time I say Wabajak, I have an instinct to say that. Wabajak. Others are less well known, like Scourge, Makan's Hammer, Bane of Daedra. Yet, though Malakat blessed Scourge to be potent against his Daedra kin, he thought not that it should fall into Daedra hands, then to serve as a tool for private war among Caitiff and Forsaken. Thus did Malakat curse the device such that, should any dark kin seek to invoke its power, that it should open and swallow that Daedra, purge him into oblivion's void streams, and hence the pathfind from thence to find back to the real and unreal worlds in the full order of time. Jaffer Malakat, I suppose. Put this away here. Book of Daedra. Put that. Here it is. I need to read this. Dwemer History and Culture. Line near. I know there's a lot of Dwemer ruins here. I want to investigate that at some point. I wonder if there's any in Whitehold Run. Or are they closer to the mountains? Mountain doors. So maybe the eastern holds and the western holds. We'll see. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. Volume 7. Line and lore. Frontier Conquest, Hurricanes, Bestiary, Ice Reach. Well, Ice Reach might be useful. Skyrim is a large hole. Let's continue reading, shall we? I want to sell this. Line and Lore. Is this about fishing? By Alan Seabird. Yep. My name is Alan Seabird. My fame or lack thereof is irrelevant. I am not a writer. Clearly, grammar sucks. As it so happens, my wife gave me this quill when I retired. She called it a gift. To me it is a burden, but I suppose many teachers feel the same weight. If I were to walk the bridge to Savangard, I would take all of my knowledge with me. Hard lessons learned from decades of fishing in the waters of Skyrim. In my life, I've fished in waters open and deep. Amid storms no mortal dare brook, I've ventured down bottomless caves and challenged the monsters of the deep with my hook. I've seen it all, caught them all, be it fish, monster, or brute. With this guide, I will teach you how to do the same. Chapter 1. The Rod. Just as a warrior needs a sword and a blacksmith a hammer, the first thing any aspiring fisherman needs is a rod. You'll find one at a general goods store or left behind on boats and docks by other fishermen that have come before you. When you obtain one, wield it like you would a weapon, swinging it this way and that. Get a feel for its balance and weight. It must become an extension of your body and mind. Another sip of tea. Chapter 2. Supplies. Once you have a rod, you'll next need supplies. This includes bait and other essentials to capture the fish once it's been reeled close to the shore. However, you need not bring your own. It is customary in Skyrim to leave fishing supplies by waters where you fish are plentiful to find. A set of fishing supplies is to be met with a greeting, a hearty hello from another fisherman to another. When you are done, you will leave these supplies for the next fisher. Such is the way. Chapter 3. Casting the line. When you are ready to fish, bait your hook using the fishing supplies. Then cast your line with vigor and allow the hook sink below the surface. The art of fishing is one of patience and focus. In particular, it requires a concentration of two senses. Sight and touch. You might ask, how can one know if there are nearby fish for the taking? It is no different than the way moths are drawn to flame. When your bait lands on the surface of the water, nearby fish will excitingly converge. The ripples on the surface will quickly announce their presence. Watch for these ripples carefully. The more the water stirs, the more plentiful the number of fish. In contrast, a quiet surface, when your line hits the water, will tell you there are no more fish to catch, and you must return in a day's time. In time, you will learn to tell fish apart based on the tug of your line. You will know the difference between a river betty's curious nibble and a carp's eager pull. Reeling it in. Chapter 4. When you have hooked your fish, the time for patience and serenity is over. Now come the throes of war. Your fish will thrash as it fights for its life, but you must keep your grip firm and your mind focused as you reel your line and pull in your catch. Once you have reeled it in, the fish is yours. Scale it, cook it, and consume it how you please. Depending on your custom, there are different rituals to follow, but for all fishermen, a catch is always cause for celebration. Chapter 5. The rare and unusual catch. Different fishes are native to different climates. If you seek a variety of fish, do not stay in one place. Temperate lakes and streams to the south will hook you a different catch than snow-frigid ponds and pitch-black caverns. When you seek a fish that is seldom caught, the uncommon and rare fish that fishermen brag about until long in their years. Your best bet is to fish when the sun is low on the horizon. Dawn and dusk offer the best chance to catch these elusive creatures. If you seek the very rarest of fish, special rods are required. Seek the advice of those in the Riften fishery. Follow their guidance and wisdom, just as you have done with me. Of course, not every catch will feature a belly. Some may fill your coin purse. Others may have interesting uses to those who brew potions. In my travels, I have even heard tall tales of dwarven rods used to lure lost trinkets settled at the bottom of ponds and lakes. For what purpose, I nor like myself cannot know. As the world moves on, such things are lost to time. True indeed. Chapter 6. In conclusion. There you have it. As I stated in the beginning of this journey, I am no writer, but what is written here are not words, but a piece of me. It is the callow boy who in his arrogance was nearly dragged into the water by a goldfish. It is the shivering fishmonger sitting on a frozen bucket in the dead of night praying to Keaton that he will live to see the sunrise. It's the old man at the lake drinking a potion of strength, turning back time so he can hook an old foe. It is part of me, and if you heed its message, it will become a part of you. Wow. This man, good for him. The Dwemer, the Empire, Frontier, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
Next time I'll read the other books down here, put them away, go back upstairs and read some of those books. This is part 1 of Scholar Khalid ibn Walid's reading of Skyrim books. See y'all next time. Subscribe, comment, leave a like.